Welcome to your Mamamoon Podcast, with interviews and tips from real life for your pregnancy journey from belly to baby.
We are Tessa and Nina, and we are passionate about motherhood. Our goal is to give you tools towards a beautiful and empowering experience during labor and a smooth entry into life as a mom.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the next episode of our Mamamoon Podcast. It's been a while, to be honest, because we were just so busy with other things. But we're super excited to be back online today with this very special episode. If you've been following Mamamoon, then you know that we're all about natural birth and supporting you and empowering you to have a beautiful and as natural as possible birthing experience. And we're very much rooted in the Netherlands, where the situation of having your own baby is having your baby at home is totally normal. So there, about 30% of all babies are being born at home, which is amazing. But we're also deeply rooted in Germany, and we also know that in other European countries, but also all over the world, the situation is a lot different when it comes to natural birth. So we're super excited to have today on our podcast two midwives from Germany who are facilitating home birth here in Germany. A very exciting topic, very unusual still. In Germany, only about 1% of all babies are born at home. So that's a very low number. Most of the time, hospitals are involved, doctors are involved. So being able to bring your baby into this world in the comfort of your own home, supported by a knowledgeable team, is something that's not yet default, is not per se normal. So we're really excited to talk to two of the midwives today that are making that possible in parts of Germany. Iris and Feli, welcome, heartfelt welcome on the show. Super nice to have you. Maybe, to start us off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, just about your story, what you're doing, where you're from? Both of you, that would be great.
Should I start? Yeah. Okay, so hi, my name is Iris, and I'm a midwife since 12 to 13 years now. And it was a very funny story. Though when I was a little girl, my grandfather always looked at my hand and he said, "Oh, you will become a midwife." And I was like, "No, midwives are very boring. They only carry water from hot water and towels from one room to the others. No, there's nothing exciting in this job." And they support support the doctor. So I said no, I'm not getting a midwife, and I'm becoming a midwife. And then I grow up, and then I started to study politics, and then I gave birth to 3 kids. And so I had very different experiences with the birth. The first one, because I was 24 when I was pregnant with my first child, and nobody else was pregnant in my surrounding, so I decided to go to hospital because I knew about Geburtshaus, so it's
a birth home,
birth home center, and but I thought, okay, these are only hippies and very esoteric partners going there, couples going there, and I decided to go to hospital. And like a lot of other women, my first birth was very long, and it ended in a cesarean section, so I was depressed after that, and nobody cared about me. I was on my own, and I did everything on my own, and the decisions were taken over mine, or without
over your head,
without taking me in these decisions and things like that. And then I had my son I got pregnant again, and then I gave birth to my son in Frankfurt in another hospital, and And this was spontaneously after, I think after 30 hours or so. I think it's this expression is missing. It's not the right. So give birth spontaneously after 30 hours. But well, he came on a natural way. And then I needed my daughter to give birth to my daughter at home. And this was this was a great experience. And after having this experience, I decided to become a midwife. And then I started my education. And during the education, because you have you work a lot of this period, it's 3 years. You work in hospital, and it's I was really shocked how women gave birth under these conditions, that they are able to give birth under these conditions. So a lot of times I came home and I was crying, because I really was it was so hard to see them, that they don't have any self-control, that it's the control is outside. There's such a lot of pressure and things like that. And so I decided after finishing my education that I will start working in a birth house. And yes, and then I started working there. After 2 years, I decided that it's my own way to give okay, the word is missing. To accompany parents or couples in their way to have a home birth. And so since 10 years, I'm in that part of.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah, super cool. I love stories that start from your own experience as well, because then they're even more, when you have an
Powerful.
experience yourself, they're so much more powerful. Yeah. And Philly, maybe you can also introduce yourself quickly.
Yes.
Or long, however long you need. Don't rush.
My story is a little bit shorter. After school, I did education in an office for a newspaper. So it was different way I started. But it came the time that I noticed that I'm not the person who will work in the office, and I have to work with people. And then I was looking for my new job, and I didn't have really an idea. And then my mother, we sat there, and she was telling me about the time when she gave birth to my brother, and gave birth to me. And she was explaining that her midwife was such a important person for her, and she had the luck that she had two birth that she really likes to think of, and she had very good experience. And in these stories, I was so into it, and I felt like, wow, that's midwife. It's such a great thing, and you have these very
intimate
moment with the families. And then I took, because I was still in my education in the newspaper, I grabbed my whole holiday for a year and made a internship in a small hospital, and had there my first 10 birth, and it was so catching, and I was saying, yes, I will, that will be my way. And then I started my education as a midwife in Saarbrücken. And during this time, we have 2 internship where we can go to midwives who are not working in a hospital. And luckily, I got to Iris in both of the internships. And yeah, that was the moment that I was saying, yes, I want to take part of this to give the families the option to give birth at home. And yeah, then after my education, I worked a little bit in my hospital where I did the education in Saarbrücken, because I fell in love with a Saarbrücken boy, and I was staying for that. But it took a few months, and then I was calling Iris and told her I can't take it anymore. I can't work in a hospital. My a horrible day was 11 births in 8 hours, and we was only 3 midwives, and sometimes I was coming into this room and I even don't know the name of the woman who had given birth at this moment, and it was
Everything also happens on a clock, because it also has to be calculated differently, and so we'll talk about it in more detail. But we've heard so many stories as well, especially in hospitals, where you can clearly see there is a structure that is externally, and so if something doesn't fit into that pattern, there is a problem straight away, which is just not the way it's supposed to be naturally, we think. Nice.
So when did it change? Because we used to give birth at home, and then, like you said, now most of us, the first thought is hospital, and in some countries not even allowed to think about anything else. So when did that change?
So we discussed this before we start the interview or the podcast. I think it started when doctors try to control birth. So it's not. I think it's something at the end of the 19th century that they had hospitals, and that there are single women. They were on their own, and they had no destitute women, and they gave birth in this hospitals or in this institutions, and there were a lot of students sitting in the same room, and they had to give birth on a chair, something like that they can see how this works. And I think the main point is that this was the time when you try to control everything, that you try to control birth, and that you try to fit a round thing in a square meter thing, and it doesn't work. So then after the Second World War, it was very popular to go to the hospital, because there you can get some pain killers, medication, and they look after the child after that, and you are safe, and you have your free time after giving birth for a few days, and somebody cares about your baby and things like that. And so it was useful, or it was usual to go to hospital. And yes,
and maybe because in the old times there was nearly only men in this thing. It in before the wars, that we had only doctors, men doctors, not women. And I think men have other way to do things. It's more practical, and they want to keep something under control. And I think that was a point, that give the start to get it more into the hospital way, to control birth, to have machines and something like that technical, to have the feeling that we have this thing under control.
Yeah, I think it starts in the days, in our days. It starts if a girl is 14 years old, that she's going to the doctor just to get told if everything is fine with her. So there's no boy who is going to the doctor and he's told that everything is fine with him. So that, I think this is a very strange way that girls are told that everything is fine and everything is controlled. And I think it's like, so if she wants to get pregnant, and it's not so she has several tries that she's just to get pregnant, then she has to be controlled by some institutions, and then her pregnancy has to be controlled. And so she has not the feeling of her own body from the beginning, from 14 years on, and she needs this. Okay, so we are looking for you, and we are checking, and our machines are checking that everything is fine. And this is our point of view, that we say, okay, we try to get a different way, that we just increase in our just to understand, support women in their way, that they get the feeling back for her body. And that if you ask them, so how are you today, and she said, okay, yesterday I was at the doctor's, and he did an ultrasound, and everything is fine. I always say, okay, no, I just asked you, how do you feel, and not somebody else just told you that you feel good. Yes. And this is in our society, I think this is a very strange thing, that women forget to feel what her body is doing. Yeah, just to believe in their body, and just to feel the baby is growing, and the baby is moving, and the baby is alive, and the baby is feeling fine, and that they have this connection to their own body and to their baby. And it's the same by giving birth, that they are controlled by machines, that they have the CTG, I don't know what
CTG. Yeah, the CTG. Yeah.
The right word. Okay. That how the heartbeat of your child, that it's in a nice way, and things like that, and that everybody in hospital, that you have to control how the birth is going on, if it's in the schedule, if it's everything in time, that you, and so I think the women lose their capacity to give birth in their own way, in their own time, in their own in their own feeling. And so I think this is what we should learn again, or not learn, that we should believe in our strength, in our in our bodies,
because you can have that much technique and machines that make the illusion that the birth is safe, or the birth is under control, but it's only an illusion that makes this technique. Yeah.
I have goosebumps. It makes me really super emotional, because I see so many. We both, right, Kasia, we see so many examples where it's different, and it's exactly what we want to support, having moms in touch with themselves and with their intuition and with freaking nature. I mean, this is what our bodies were made to do, right? So how can we start to trust more in machines and doctors than in our own body? Crazy. Yeah, so cool. we need more of this. I'm already at a point where I think we can stop the podcast here. So this is the perfect end sentence. It's like just a plaidoyer. Perfect. No. Now, when I talk to my German friends about giving birth at home, they always freak, right? And even if we have German girls in our retreats, oftentimes the just the thought of doing a home birth is so out of their imagination and feels so scary. Objectively, what are the risks of home birth? Are there any higher risks of a home birth than there are in a hospital? You already said it's more perceived safety than real safety. Is it really so much more dangerous than people think it is, or?
Yeah, we have we don't take every woman or every family to a home birth. We separate yeah, before. We have a checklist with risk during pregnancy, and we have also exclusion criteria. So we look with a family during the pregnancy. Is the mama, the mommy and the kid, are they both healthy? And if they are both healthy, we can say, okay, we will go, we can make the decision to go into the home birth. So we don't take families with high risk into the home birth, because sometimes it has to be in a hospital if the mother have some illnesses or if the baby have something. So that we make this separation of the two cases. And then if you say, okay, the mother and the baby is healthy and we can go to the home birth, then you have yeah, less risk as in a hospital, because the birth is influenced by our hormone system, and hormones are very sensible of yeah,
outer influences.
Yes,
from
yeah,
influences outside.
yeah. And you can imagine the best place to give birth is the place where you'd love to have sex, because it's the same thing. And if you feel safe and if you have your privacy, the hormone will flow in a other way as if you are in a hospital where you have strangers around you and yeah, don't feel safe, because it's very exciting to be in a hospital. And so the hormone at home will flow in a totally other way, and it helps that the body will do its thing, his thing.
Yeah. And it's I completely recognize also what you said, because I so about the division, like the healthy and the risky. Because when I was pregnant with my first one, I was still going through this kind of like decision process of what and how, and it was like, of course, home, like no, and we live at the third floor in Amsterdam, no. You know, if something happens, then I have to go through this elevator through the window, no. But then only when I started getting interested and I found out also birth centers, and they also said like, yeah, well, but if there is any doubt of fear about your health or the baby's health, you cannot stay at home, you cannot go to the birth center. So having that knowledge and actually gave me a lot of trust, like, okay, so if I can do it, that means I can do it.
Yeah.
And that's I think it's something that's very important to indeed to share with women across. And also what you said about yeah, about having babies where you have sex. So my second one
I
was
knew
born
that you would love that, Kasia.
on my bed. And it was beautiful. Yeah, oxytocin is just, yeah, it's, yeah, so totally recognize it. And took me also a little bit back to, to the births of both Lily and Nico. If so, I'm, let's say, looking at it a lucky one when it comes to home births, right? Living in the Netherlands, so where it's popular, where it's something which is actually considered very normal. If I wouldn't be living here, so if I live in any other country, how do I find a midwife who would support me actually in doing a home birth? Is there like an association? Can you tell a bit about Germany, and maybe if you know about other countries, if you are connected somehow, like how do we find you?
Well, I think by Google internet. That's one way. But I think it's so for us it's very important that everything is in one hand, because Nina told us in the beginning that when she was pregnant that she had 3 different midwives, and this is what we think that it's important, that we have everything in our hands. So one of our so just let me look up the word. So second, so it's it's required that we do the preventions. This is you have regular preventions during your pregnancy, that we do it as well, and that the best point is that we midwives do all preventions, and only the doctor is doing the ultrasound, not X-ray, ultrasound. Okay, because it's a healthy way, and if you are healthy, you can do this in this way, and then that you have that the woman has her midwife. So there's one midwife, she is caring and looking about her during the during giving birth, and there's a second one coming at the end of birth, just to be part of this situation, and then she's doing the time after birth. In Germany, you have this system that the midwife will come or can come for 6 to 8 weeks and look after the woman and the family, both the couple and the baby, not the girl, the baby. Not always a girl. Okay, and yes, and that this is all in one hand, that you trust each other, that you are one team, and so it's very necessary that you have a good relationship to each other from both sides, so that that me as the midwife, that I can decide, okay, I think this woman is not in she's not so or not I can't get a good connection to her. So because this is very important, that you have a connection, and that the woman trusts you, or the couple trusts you, and that they can not fall in love, fall in birth, and that they trust you completely. So I think this is very necessary. And another point, what it's very important for me, because we don't talk about delivery. Delivery is a passive way to get children, to give birth to children. We always use the active way, just to give birth, because I think it's not a parcel who is coming and it's ringing and then the baby is coming. So it's like, that you have to be in an active way and to give birth. So I think this is very, very important. And if women think in this way, it's the first step to be self, to be in a good process to give birth.
Force of words.
The force of words.
Yeah, and the power.
It's powerful. And
maybe for a short note to the how they can reach us, because we have a German
midwife association,
German midwife association, which have a list of all midwives in Germany and what they can do for the families, and a list in which towns they are working, so you can search in for your town and your wishes.
Yeah. Cool. That's good. I didn't know that. I got one from the hospital, and then I rang them all up, because that's the other thing. There are so few midwives. I think I rang up 17, and then in the end, I didn't care if I had a connection with her or not. I was just happy I had a midwife. So this is like second to last on the list. So if she's stupid, I don't really care as long as she's there.
Yeah.
It's but this is the other point of the medal, or the other side of the medal, that it's that a lot of colleagues are the appreciation is it's very low, I think. So it's not well paid. It's you have a lot of
Insurances.
The insurances are very increasing high. So in this year we pay more than 10,000 euro a year for the insurance of to being self-employed and doing home birth, and this is very, very responsibility. Okay. The word I was looking for was responsibility. Because you have a lot of your responsibility is very high, and you are so low paid, and a lot of young colleagues, they were dreaming of a nice job, and then they recognize that it's really, really hard work, because you are, so if you do home birth in our system, in our team, so the woman is joining her midwife, and this is a one-to-one
relationship.
Thanks. One-to-one relationship, and you are in duty for 24 hours 7 days a week until the baby is coming. And so you can't go for holidays, or you can't drink alcohol, or you can't eat garlic or something like that. Just to be there for the birth.
So you already said it, that it's this super special bond between the midwife and the mom to be, or the parents to be. And I'm also thinking, especially if somebody's considering a home birth, they want to feel super safe as well in the hands of their midwife, and know that they are in the best hands to take care of them, whatever happens, right? How would I choose a midwife for my home birth? So you already said there is a lot of responsibility around it. Next to having a click, are there criteria? Is there I don't know, is there a checklist? Is there, how do I know whether a midwife is a good midwife for a home birth or not?
You have to believe in it, I think.
Just
let it go.
No auditing process. Okay, so
you have to trust.
Are there any I mean, apart from the basic education, is there anything special that you need to do to be able to do home birth?
You don't have extra education for it or something like that. So every midwife who made a midwife education have the option to make home birth. But what we do is, and I think we make it in a we make it more than colleagues who are working in a hospital. We have a team, and we always stay in contact. And we have Fortbildung,
special educations or ongoing education, basically,
for
and courses.
for reanimation, for example. So we
Yeah.
do it regularly, twice a year.
Yeah.
We do examination or education for reanimation. That if we have this situation, because we are on our own then in this situation, just how that we know how to handle that we are not standing there like, oh, what are we? What should? And this is the strange point, because in hospital, I have a lot of friends they are working in hospital and as a midwife, and they say, okay, we do this training as well, but we always believe that the doctor is doing the reanimation, and then there's a situation that the doctor is not there, so they are on their own. Yeah. And so I think for me it's better that I know, okay, I'm on my own from the beginning. I have a good colleague on my side, and we train to work in these situations, in this special needed situations as a team, and so we know how to handle. We have the equipment. We have some equipment just to do reanimations with the baby and with the mother. Well, the couple, the other part of the couple, they have to sign extra that we care about them if there's enough time to care about them. So if they lose conscience or something like that. So but we will care about them later on. It's like, yes, and so, and we have some medicine, some medicals for this special
for emergency.
For emergency. But I think the important thing is just to train the situation of emergency, the reanimation and things like that, and
to stay in contact with the team, because we are talking about cases if something's if we had a birth and it was a bit complicated or something like that, so we are talking about it, and to give reflection. Reflection, and to give ideas, and we have team meetings in a
very regular, every 6 weeks.
It's like constant education, constant keeping yourself sharp, because you are simply on your own. Yeah. And what you something triggered me. So you said because let's say that a woman, goes like, okay, I want to have a home birth, and you start at home, and of course I hear different birth stories also from my students, and sometimes they start home, sometimes there's this moment like, okay, should we stay, or maybe we should move to the hospital, and it can be that they stay or they go, so it always differs. Of course, every birth is different, every birth is very personal as well, but do you have like key pointers, like, okay, if this happens, then we go to the hospital, if this happens, or maybe there's like a gray zone, like when do you discuss it with a couple, when do you say like, okay, now it's the time, and now it's still, we can take a decision, depends how you are doing, for example.
We have criteria on which we are looking during the birth, and to make at some point the decision, okay, we have to leave the home birth, and we will go to hospital. And that's why we are here in the birth, to have a look on it if everything's going fine, and we can stay at home. We have to
you have to be prepared for both.
And it's always like if you have any emergency or any complications or things like that, it's not from 1 second to the other. It's like, so because you are with the family, you care about the woman, you are in you are with the woman and the whole family, and then you recognize that something is not going that way that you are wish to.
We have this feeling.
I think you have the feeling, and then and then you are in contact with the couple, and you talk to them. So it's their decision. It's their decision, and we talk about this, and we say, okay, if you need some painkillers, for example, or something like that, or your body is completely um, no, there are no labors coming anymore because the body needs a break, for example, then we discuss this, not discuss, we talk about this, and then we call the hospital. And I think in our situation, we just check which colleague is having is on duty in hospital, and so we decide with the family where to go. And I think this is and this is not so, it's not common. It's so in if I think every 10th birth is going to hospital. So 9 of 10 babies are coming at home, and so 1 of 10 babies is we change the
and not especially in an emergency. It's the most of it. It's because we need a painkiller or something like that. It's not obviously a emergency when we leave the home birth. It's a very, very less number of real emergencies.
So now I'm it's now for 13 years I'm doing birth, or I'm joining the families, and I had one emergency case after birth, that the baby was not fine, and I had to call the ambulance, and they and they were it was very quick. They 8 minutes after birth, they were at the home, and just cared about mother and child, and the others were like, because then the baby was born and the placenta was not coming, and it was bleeding very strongly, and so I had to change the to hospital as well, with the ambulance, with the
Your whole working period, it was 2 real emergencies. The other thing was a calm way to say, okay, maybe now we will go to hospital, but not in an emergency case.
Very little, I think, when we think about birth, and maybe it's also because we all talk so much about the birth cases that are not going well and all the horror stories that are out there, that in my mind there are much more emergencies. The ratio between emergencies and horrific birth stories and birth stories that run smoothly is completely off. So maybe we just need to talk more about the positive and the beautiful birth stories, so that we have a bit more of a realistic perspective in our heads, and not think that this is this crazy, dangerous, horrific experience that is almost certainly going to cost you your life. It's bullshit. It's very, very few instances where things really go badly wrong.
Because we only do interventions if they are needed in the home birth situation. And I think a lot of emergencies in hospital are homemade or are self-made, because the intervention starts what I said in the beginning of the interview starts because everything is checked. So the whole birth is checked, and it's regulated, and it's it's
under this control.
It's under control. So as Feli said, so if you have sex, you are not controlled. So nobody is coming and it's looking for you, and so you are doing fine. So maybe you should join this position, and maybe you should join that, and better. So please, what is your temperature? Could we check your temperature if everything is fine? So I think it's quite good to compare it with this situation.
And you have a great movie about this topic. It's called Sex Like Birth. In German, it's Die Leistung. It's a Spanish couple which get the same circumstances like giving birth in a hospital by having sex, then it's a great movie to have a other look on this hospital thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. We're going to make sure to put that in the show notes as well for people to
Just
have a look at it.
making notes from it. It's gold. It's really beautiful. Thank you. I have to bite myself in the tongue all the time, and Nina knows why, because I love everything that you say. So yes.
Kasia wants to talk about this for much longer, but that's why
she normally cuts me out. So like, time.
Okay.
Wow, thank you so much. We've already learned so much about giving home birth and about why it is a great idea and how it is actually not at all unsafe and a beautiful experience. So thanks a lot for that, Iris and Feli. Spoiler alert, we're going to do another episode here because there's still so much we want to talk about when it comes to home birth. And one thing that is super important for us is always to talk also around practicality. So we want to talk about how do you prepare for home birth? What do you need? Who do you need? So yes, Feli and Iris have so much to say and so much to talk that we'll do another episode here. So tune in, listen in, and make sure that you listen to the second part of our Mamamoon podcast about home birth with Iris and Feli. Thanks a lot, and speak to you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening to our Mamamoon podcast. We would love to see you again, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes.
Also, for more information and to stay up to date, check our website mamamoon.me and our Instagram and Facebook.